Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Carchat, and today I'm in a real powerhouse. It's this BMW M6. They simply don't make cars like this anymore. This comes from a time of excess, where more was much more and less was much less. Under the pretty bonnet lies a naturally aspirated V10 petrol engine. Yes, they're a bit unreliable, but let's not dwell on that. Instead, let's celebrate it. Sitting here in 2024, the whole idea of this car just seems crazy. I mean, can you imagine a time when a mainstream manufacturer would plonk a 10-cylinder petrol engine into an ordinary-looking coupe? It's crazy. I've always liked the M6. In my opinion, it balances luxury with ferocity, and I think they've got the balance just right. It's more than just a fast car, it's a statement. With its high-revving 10-cylinder symphony, the M6 promises a drive that's as thrilling as it is smooth. And it's all wrapped in a body that's as sophisticated as it is sporty. This car is a true icon of its era. The inside speaks volumes too. It's as luxurious as a 7 Series, and yet as sporty as an M3. You can tell it's been crafted for comfort, but also designed to exhilarate. I thought who better to share this high-octane experience with than Mike Fernie from DriveTribe, who's today's guest. Mike's been the presenter of the DriveTribe channel for around 7 years now. His passion for cars goes beyond the specs. With his engineering background, he dives deep into what makes each model tick, from classics to the contemporary. Mike has a knack for uncovering the stories behind cars and exploring what drives the culture of automotive enthusiasm. His insights not only enlighten, but they also entertain, so I thought he'd be the perfect co-pilot for today's adventure. I know he's a huge fan of the M6 and he doesn't know I'm about to turn up in one, so I'm quite excited to see his reaction. As we cruise through the roads that beckon, we'll chat about everything that makes the car world spin, from the hidden gems of the automotive industry to the future of driving. So buckle up, because today's episode promises to be quite an exhilarating ride. Right, should we go and get Mike? I'll see you there. Mike.
Hello.
How you doing?
How's it going?
Yeah, thanks for this. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, no worries at all. Welcome to DriveTribe HQ.
Yeah, thank you. Now, this isn't where you keep cars then, I take it. This is just like the HQ where you do editing and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, we're kind of a bit split up. So this is our main office. This is where the team comes. We've got a few cars here, but Richard's in Hereford, so it's not too far up the road. Okay. We kind of moved southwest to be near him, but not too near him.
Right.
So this is our sort of company HQ, but yeah, we'll nip up the road to Richard's place in Hereford every other weekend to create content stuff. So we've got some interesting stuff downstairs, but not everything.
Okay. And how long have you been here?
Just a couple of months. You're actually getting a bit of an exclusive here. There'll be a full office tour video coming probably on our second channel sometime soon. But yes, this is the start of our kind of second main HQ since Richard took over.
And is this because you just needed more space to grow into, basically?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, DriveTribe did go down to a team of 4 people, and we're now up to, I want to say, 13, 14 now in total. So we're
you're trying to build it back up again?
Going back up, yeah, exactly. Sustainably, though.
Because you were based in London, weren't you, initially?
Yes, the big, startup DriveTribe was right in King's Cross, literally like an office within the station, amazing office, and that was 50, 60 people, and then it's gone through all the iterations, and this is where it is now. Very different company to when we started, but it's a sustainable business.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. Exactly. Yeah, so it was as big as that, was it, initially?
Yeah,
50, 60 people.
Yeah, big time. There's the big numbers of investment that went in. You can Google them; they're fairly big. But we basically narrowed DriveTribe down to what it needed to be, and then Richard kind of bought the other guys out, so he's kind of the sole owner now, and we've just kind of pushed on from there. Yeah,
so you got a solid base to build on.
Exactly.
Basically.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
No, it's cool. It's cool.
So are there any cars here that we can have a nosy at?
Yes, there'll be a few that people should recognise from recent videos, past videos. They're down in the car park, but some of our major stuff Richard keeps to himself.
Yes,
so
fair enough.
See them today.
Okay, could we go and have a look at those first, and then I'll show you what I've brought, because I think you'll like it. I think you'll be quite excited.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So this is the famous DriveTribe Mini.
This has been our latest project, Mini Cooper S. Izzy called it Stanley. So yeah, obviously Izzy is Richard Hammond's daughter.
Yeah.
She's got really stuck into the car content this year. It's been really cool. And yeah, our sponsors Napa were like, right, let's build a track car. What do you want to do? So we've picked a Cooper S.
Okay.
Everyone loves a supercharged Mini.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is the result. It is still like road legal and everything. We didn't go too extreme, but there's some nice mods to this.
So is this still the R53? Is
Yes.
this still the supercharged one
Yes.
before it went turbocharged?
Yeah, supercharged, which on track is just so great. We put a smaller pulley on it, so it just absolutely shrieks now.
Right,
It's
okay.
so cool.
Okay.
But yeah, we decided to fully liver it. So this is kind of like Napa's touring cars, British touring cars, for the first half, and then we kind of DriveTribe'd it on the other side. But yeah, this is a proper legit little track car. Richard drove it as a sort of shakedown in one of our videos, and he seemed to really enjoy it. So it probably needs another couple of things. Like, we realised that the brakes aren't quite up to scratch, so we'd upgrade those. And then we had to put the old front tyres on it because Richard shredded the fronts. You can see it in the footage. He's got full lock on, round hairpins, and he's just giving it, and it's just ripping up the tyres. So yeah, we'll probably get more hardcore, like almost semi-slicks probably to fit to it. But no, this has been really
great fun then. Yeah,
is it? Yeah, it's a great car. I've always wanted one, so to kind of have a go with it, it's been epic. It's been cool.
Good. And your own car then is the Mondeo ST.
So I probably should have cleaned it knowing you guys were coming. But yeah, I fully daily this car now. So this was the first DriveTribe project car. I owned this while I was at university, and then brought it down south when I
You've had it a long time then?
Yeah, so I bought it for 900 quid.
Did you?
I've been offered like quite substantial 5-figure sums for this since. So it's had a bit of a glow up. So it got fully restored, but the whole thing with it is, I mean, it's on 162,000 miles, so it's by no means low mileage. So I've just thought, well, I've got a really nice car, why not daily it? So you know, I guess it's good that it's covered in winter autumnal crap right now.
Well, it's being used, isn't it? It's authentic.
But underneath, like, it's a fully restored 2000 Ford Mondeo V6 2.5. I absolutely love it. It's my own sort of little British touring car. Like, that era of super
I've never had one of this era. I've had the later ST220, but never one of those.
Do you know what? I've never actually driven a 220.
Oh really? I love those.
I'd love to have a go, because it's the petrol and diesel versions of them.
Yes, that's right.
But yeah, so this is the one before. They're so rare now because people just scrap them instantly. Like, really, the 900 quid car I bought, it should have been scrapped quite easily, but I was like, no, I'm gonna go for it.
Right.
So now I got a full going over, and then this has been a more recent one on the channel. It's been kind of uncampered, but this BMW 330D E46. We put a roof tent on it. I converted the inside to be a full man cave. There was a Warhammer table in the back. My musical instruments were in there.
That's a great engine though, the old 2.9 straight 6 diesel.
Yes, it's been really, really solid. We've given it a full service with our liquid moly stuff. Yeah, I think it needs a gearbox service probably. But
automatic, is it, or manual?
Automatic, but 1,500 quid. But no, it's been a great car. Being a Mondeo guy, I always see these as like a bit of the enemy, because the 3 Series kind of took over the Mondeo man, really. But you drive it and you think, well, back in 2003, if you were to drive this in a 220 side by side, you'd be mad not to buy this.
I know.
So I get it. I love this way more, but if you were actually test driving them back in the day,
exactly, you'd choose that. I love the E46 though.
It's got a flat
and even
tyre.
if you drive one now, they still feel modern, don't they? It just shows you how ahead of the time they were, I think.
But no, it's been a great car. It's got some cool little tidbits actually. It was owned by a mechanic before, so it's got AC Schnitzer bits and pieces in the interior, and apparently these wing mirrors are actually quite sought after. They're no good because they're tiny. But apparently they're actually desirable, pretty legit.
Right. I don't know if it's the same gearbox on this as like the X5 of the same era, but they were quite unreliable, those gearboxes, so
it is a bit thumpy, this one.
They were a General Motors gearbox, I think.
Right.
And they were a bit poor. The petrols used one from somebody else, I think ZF or somebody, but it was General Motors in the diesel.
I'm hoping it just needs a flush.
That would help. That might help
but
it.
We'll see. So it was owned by a mechanic. He told me that this scar on the roof, his neighbour threw a brick at it, and he thought, right, well, I'm going to repair the roof, I might as well do the whole thing. So he rubbed it down, and God knows what he painted it with. But the whole, I've never seen a roof like it. It's shocking. I don't know how, like all this like circling going on. I don't know what that is.
No, that's not great.
I'm thinking it might just like wrap it or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I kind of like the fact that it looks a bit scruffy though, to be honest, because it kind of adds to it, doesn't it?
It's a very solid and high mileage as well. This is 220.
Is it really?
So it's a proper. Well, I feel like Alex Kirsten's going to phone me up any day to buy it off me. But no, it's actually been a cool thing, and it's been cool having that realization because I'm a big Mondeo, Jag, the alternative cars. Yeah. But driving the one everyone goes for, I get it now. I get it.
Whatever happened to the XK that you were doing? Weren't you doing a manual conversion on it?
Yes, we did that. We did like 10 episodes on that manual swap. That was really cool. It was a great car. And then we sold it on Collecting Cars. Okay. That one did really well. That was great for us because it was like pretty much one of only a few in the world that have done that. But the guys at Swallows Racing did it, and they know their stuff. Like, it actually worked. It wasn't some like Frankenstein thing that barely worked.
That's always the worry, isn't it, when you do something like that?
Yeah, I think when you get a race team to do it, like Swallows, they don't muck about. There's no like ifs and buts. It's just like bang, done.
They know what you're looking for.
So that was really cool. I actually prefer the later generation of XK, the 150s. I think they're absolutely lovely. I would love to own an XKR from that generation. So maybe that's something in future we'll look at. But they're niche cars. I always get told by the sort of YouTube gods that BMWs, Porsches, that's what you should stick at. But also, I feel like there is space on the internet for the more niche stuff. Because if you're into Jags and Mondeos, the chances are a hell of a lot of other people are. Maybe not as many as Beamers, but they're out there. So if you make the content interesting enough, they'll come for it.
I think one of my most popular videos is with a Jag XF or something. Sure. People love it.
We've done stuff with, but I've done plenty of MG Rover stuff, and there is an audience there. It may not be seen as mainstream, but you've got to be different to everyone else. Other channels are doing all the more mainstream stuff, so why not have a go at other?
Do something unusual.
Exactly.
Right, well, shall I go and show you what I've brought down for you then?
Yes, I'm excited.
Right, let me go and get it. Give me a minute. Before we continue with today's Car Chat episode, I just want to say a big thank you to today's video sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Car Vertical. Now, before you hand over any cash for a used car or motorbike, it's really important that you do a thorough vehicle history check. Otherwise, you just don't know what you're buying. A car might look okay on the face of it, but until you do a thorough vehicle history check, you really don't know what's lurking beneath. I've been using Car Vertical now for years, and every single car you can see on the forecourt, I've checked using Car Vertical. All you do is head over to carvertical.com and type in the reg or the VIN, and then it produces a very detailed report. So it tells you whether it's ever been stolen, written off, had a mileage rollback, or has outstanding finance on it. In addition to that, it shows you the MOT history, the ownership changes, the spec of the car, the average market value, and a whole lot more. It doesn't just work in the UK either, it works in 35 different countries. So before you complete your purchase of your car or motorcycle, make sure you do a thorough vehicle history check first using Car Vertical. If you use my promo code HIGHPEAK, that's HIGHPEAK all one word, HIGHPEAK, you'll save yourself 20% off each and every check that you do. Or alternatively, click the link below in the video description. Right, enough of that, back to Car Chat.
I hope this has got the engine that I want it to, but by the sounds of it, it does. Left-hand drive. Yes. Engine, no convertible.
Well.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
A little birdie told me that you liked M6s, I thought this would be the perfect
Do you know what? So we had our E61 M5 on the channel. I always wanted the V10 Beamer to be the M6, but I got overruled for everyone else because of the looks. But I don't get that because I think these look really good now.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I think they've aged amazingly.
I prefer the hardtop, to be honest. I prefer the coupe.
I just said that. I said yes, engine, no convertible.
Yeah.
Left-hand drive.
Left-hand drive, American import, weirdly.
What? Why?
I don't know.
Why would you import this?
I don't know.
Okay. Have you had this for long?
It's not mine, actually. In fact, I need to say a big thank you to Don for lending me the car from the BMW Owners Club. He kindly. We were trying to get hold of one, and to be honest, I didn't want to buy one because I know they're a bit.
Yeah, they're so cheap though.
Yeah, I know.
Because no one wants the M6.
Yeah, I know. I know they have issues with rod bearings and all sorts of stuff. So, having said that, at this kind of age, you would like to think whoever's owned one has kind of had all that work done.
Yes.
But that's just me being optimistic.
And it'll be cool being back in an SMG car because we immediately manual swapped ours. Wait a minute.
No, it's manual.
It's manual?
Yeah, it's a proper 6-speed manual.
Okay, so that's why it's an American import. Okay,
Why did they
because
not-
the Americans got the manual.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
Right, okay. I
It was
didn't know
only
that.
wow. Okay,
Well, that makes sense then,
this
doesn't it?
is really interesting now.
So all right-hand drive UK cars were SMG?
We didn't get any manuals. No,
Oh, I didn't know that, okay.
The M5s in the States got manuals. I didn't know the M6s did though.
Okay.
This is really rare.
Right,
Wow.
Well, you're
Okay.
probably excited now, then, aren't you?
I'll forgive the convertible now. Damn. Can I have a look under the bonnet?
Yeah.
I can't resist looking at this V10. Oh, yes. Look at that. If I get my way in the next 6 months, one of these will be in an MX-5.
Oh, okay.
Stay tuned.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 507 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds,
Yeah.
10 cylinders.
Yeah.
It's crazy, isn't it? Because this would never get built today. You know, a mainstream manufacturer putting such a big engine in a.
So
an
I was
ordinary car.
driving yesterday. I was driving an Audi Q7 V12 TDI.
Oh, really?
And I was just thinking yesterday, that's from that same era where the Germans just went nuts with their engines, like all those different VW, VR6, W8, W12. And the Mercs had their NA V8s, and then the Beamers had these. Like,
I saw
just
my pal sent me something on TikTok the other day, and it was a BMW X5 E53 with a V12 in it. That was apparently they were thinking of making it. It never happened, but yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. Like the fact that this is a road car engine is just unbelievable. Same with the M3s, like the S65s. Like, it's absolutely crazy that they existed. But no, so cool. I was thinking literally just this morning about having a look.
Right.
You can get M6s for like 11 grand.
I know. I might have
the
had a look last night.
M5s have started to do their thing, but no one wants these.
No.
So if you want a V10, a 5-litre V10 car, back one of these.
I know, for around 10 grand. It's crazy.
Yeah, mad. Okay, well, yeah, I've got a little test route that we film quite a lot on, literally just down the road. So,
Okay. Do you want to get behind the wheel and drive it?
Am I allowed?
Yeah? Yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
Right, let's do it then.
Manual. God
Manual,
damn.
I know.
Factory manual. Makes our one look
Wrong
rubbish.
side then.
I'm interested in our one because it was an automatic and we made it a manual. You didn't have to put the clutch down, you just had to go on the brake because the car still thought it was an auto.
I see.
But I'm wondering, does it start without anything? No. It wants the clutch. Okay, fair enough. Oh, I missed that start. Oh, yes. I want this engine back in my life. It's so smooth. Oh, that throttle.
You're enjoying
response.
this then, aren't you?
Oh, it's so good to be back in a car with this engine. And it immediately, like, it feels like a wee bit baggier compared to our E61, but that's because ours was all brand new, put together by Everything M. So this is like factory. This is what?
Yeah, exactly. And it's done
50-year-old car now.
Yeah, 50,000 miles or something. So
Yeah. But I mean, it feels right. They actually feel very similar. It makes me feel like we actually did a very good job because of how factory it feels. It's got the same feeling, the same clunks, all that stuff feels correct. So I feel vindicated driving this. Actually, it's good.
That's good then. So for those who don't know you then, Mike, you're head of video content at DriveTribe. Is that your title?
Yeah. My sort of official title's head of video, but
the main presenter basically.
Yeah. It's always, are you Mike from DriveTribe? So that's effectively who I am. So main presenter. I basically run the channel, and Richard Hammond is the owner of DriveTribe, and we film with him as much as possible.
Okay.
But we've very much looked, especially this year, to kind of grow our pool on the channel. So we've done quite a fair bit with Ben Collins, Izzy, Richard's daughter.
Yeah.
And then I kind of do most of the content. Because basically, DriveTribe is a business. If it was just Richard, it would really be a business. Like, it needs to be more than him.
Yeah.
So that's my main goal, is creating content that's cool and watchable, and doesn't need Richard in it. So that basically means the cars, the stories, they just need to be as good as possible, really.
So you've been there for 7 years now. Is that when DriveTribe started then, 2017?
So DriveTribe officially started in November 2016, like the actual, company's house records will say November 2016. So I came in April 2017, so still quite early, but before then it'd been all like technical people that were working there, like building the DriveTribe app. Because that's what it was. It was supposed to be a social media platform for cars. And the other platforms like the YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, they were just additional. It was supposed to be its own thing. And that's where the real investment went into. It was supposed to be a platform of its own. So yeah, the initial employees were building all of that out. And then I came in as for the content side of things to fill up this app with content.
Yeah. And before that, you'd done some work with Car Throttle. Is that right?
Yeah. So while I was at university studying engineering, I decided I liked engineering, but I didn't want to do a career in it. It was cool, it interested me, but engineering in reality was too many spreadsheets and CAD and electronic stuff, and it just wasn't for me. Yeah, exactly. So I started a blog, a car blog, writing about cars, but with an engineering spin on it, because that was it would make me stick out from most other people. And that got picked up by Car Throttle, who offered me a summer internship. So I interned there. I then impressed the likes of Alex and Matt and the guys there. So much so that I then started freelancing for them. So I did a couple of summers there, kind of working full-time really over the summer, but also between exams at university writing articles for Car Throttle. Then DriveTribe came along and they actually modelled themselves editorially completely off of Car Throttle. They really liked what they were doing. So much so that, as far as I'm aware, everyone at Car Throttle got offered a job.
Did they?
They just blanket.
They were poaching everyone.
They just went for it. And everyone else was quite patriotic and was like, you know what, no, we're sticking with Car Throttle. But because I hadn't been offered a full-time job there, I was still only being offered freelance. I said, okay, well,
it made sense.
I'm going. It's Clarksham to me. That's a hell of an
opportunity. That must have been quite exciting.
It was cool. It was cool. And there was a lot of money floating around then. There was lots of big names like Henry Catchpole and all these guys, Jethro Bovingdon. They were all in the DriveTribe fold.
And did you have to audition for that then, or?
No, well, I came in as a writer initially. Video was very much done by the big boys. I was on the lowly editorial team. So I was writing articles, just like I was in Car Throttle.
How did you make that switch then? How did that happen?
So, the demand for video just went up and up and up. And DriveTribe went through a transition where the video team that were on very competitive, quite chunky salaries, the business just pivoted really. And so those guys left the company. So there was a big hole. We had a YouTube channel with 250,000 subscribers that didn't have any presenters. But the commercial, so the YouTube channel went dead for about a year. But then the commercial side of the business discovered that video was just becoming more and more attractive to sponsors. So we were looking to start creating more video content again, and I stuck my hand up and said, I'll give it a go. So you look at my first few videos. Had you done anything
like that before?
No, really? Not at all. So I kind of got plonked in front of 250k subscribers. Just this young lad who
I was thinking this, because that's an awful lot of pressure, isn't it? Because, if I think back to when I started my channel, or when anyone starts their own channel, your first video, your first dozen videos, no one watches. So you've got all that time to kind of
make all
adapt
the
to
mistakes.
Style and make all those mistakes. Whereas you've all of a sudden got 250,000 eyes on you, plus Clarkson having a May presumably as well. That was quite a lot of pressure, that.
Yeah, I remember the comments. It was one, who the hell is this guy? Why has he got no hair? But also, this video is quite cool. So because my first video was with a Group C Jaguar, so I went in right at the deep end. And if you watch it, I'm trying to be Henry Catchpole. I'm trying to be quite low energy, quite wistful almost, so eloquent, which is just, just wasn't
before
me.
You found your own style.
So I mean, it'd be quite painful to go back and watch it, but I basically just had to learn the hard way.
That could have been a make or break though, couldn't it, I suppose? Because if you'd got bogged down with negative comments or something, you could have thought, you know what, I'm never doing that ever again.
Yeah, I think from the start I've kind of learned, even with my articles, the car internet can just be quite spiky anyway. So I think I learned kind of from the start with the videos that to read, maybe the first few comments once the algorithm has done its thing and they rise to the top. Read the first few just to get the gist of what the audience thinks.
Yeah.
But do not, well, for me anyway, don't troll through them.
No.
I know some people that they will read every single comment on their videos, and either they have a really loving audience, in which case that's fantastic, like really well done, or they're just grinding themselves down,
and it ruins your day, doesn't it? Then?
Absolutely. I want you guys to drive a bit faster. Come on, let's go. We've got 500 horsepower.
He wants to go. He wants to
go. I want to use my revs. God damn.
Well, you're dealing with a 1.3 Renault engine in front, so you might struggle. In the early days, then, how many videos were you doing? Like, how long was it before you found your stride almost?
There wasn't much structure, really. It was, we've got an idea, let's go do it. Okay. So we just kind of cracked on with no real sponsors either. It was just creating content for the channel. Then the sponsors started to wake up to the size of the channel and the views we were getting, and they were like, okay, we'd like to start sponsoring stuff. So the channel very much pivoted to, why isn't every single video sponsored? That became the kind of aim, and it's kind of still where we are now.
This is the difficulty though with YouTube videos, isn't it? Because YouTube videos cost, sounds so good, doesn't it? YouTube videos cost so much to make. You've almost got to, you can't, it's really difficult to turn down a sponsor, isn't it?
Absolutely. This new world, unless you're doing a video where you think, wow, that just pure revenue is going to make this worthwhile, like, we aim to have everything.
But you need millions of views for that to be the case, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. We've kind of cultivated our audience to a point where they get that the channel needs supported, and if they support our sponsors, they get bigger and better videos. So I think I'd like to say we were kind of one of the first UK channels anyway to fully embrace today's video is sponsored by
side of it.
Bang. Yeah. And you have to go through that initial phase of what the hell is this? Why are you trying to sell me stuff? Blah, blah, blah. But very quickly, the audience starts to realize, and now, virtually every channel in the UK, and it's like the Americans did it before us, every single video has an integration in there. It's the way the YouTube business works these days.
Yeah. With the involvement of Clarkson, Hammond and May in the early days initially, were you finding it difficult to come up with fresh ideas so that it wasn't just like a mini Top Gear?
I think because of budgets, we very rarely went for like Top Gear level stuff, really.
Right.
We actually concentrated more on the seemingly quite mundane, but probably more internet-y style stuff. There's videos, one of my first videos with James May is repairing a model train.
Okay, and I remember watching that actually.
Yeah, those did hundreds of thousands of views. So that's the kind of that perfect thing of it's almost like you and your uncle at Christmas time, just sitting doing this thing, but it's James May.
Yeah,
that's what we kind of tapped in to start with. This almost not quite behind the scenes, but almost anti-Top Gear content.
Yeah, right.
And that really resonated. Now we've built back up to the point, now that there's that sort of Grand Tour Top Gear hole, we feel with Richard at the helm, we can start to fill that hole with more Grand Toury style stuff. So getting Richard in cars like the Mini and properly reviewing them, we feel there's an appetite for that. But when the Grand Tour and Top Gear are doing that already, you have to really stick your neck out to kind of be doing similar things to them, because you're just going to be compared.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, isn't it? And then automatically then you're under a lot more pressure.
Yeah, and some of my favourite stuff I've done with Richard is almost just sitting and having a chat. Yeah. Because I think our audience wants to have that conversation.
Exactly.
So I'm almost facilitating that. I'm asking. I always say that if I didn't have a job here, I'm obsessed with car YouTube. I watch everyone.
Right.
I go home at night and I'm going through seeing what everyone is doing.
Yeah.
So even if I didn't have the job at DriveTribe, I would be a subscriber.
Yes.
So I like to think that I basically put myself in the place and ask the questions that the audience would ask anyway. We'll always ask the audience what they want chatted about, but if I wrote 10 questions for Richard, the chances are the comments just kind of mirror those.
Yeah.
So I feel quite lucky in that regard, that I'm almost just a fan that's managed to get into this position. So I feel very lucky in that respect.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a cool place to be.
And you obviously grew up watching Top Gear like we all did, I suppose.
Yes. Yeah,
and
yeah.
idolising those three.
Yes.
So what's it like, or what was it like working with them? Is that just like a pinch yourself type thing?
Yeah, I mean, I remember meeting them individually for the first time, and you can't believe that voice is coming out, is in the room with you. It's like, whoa, that's actually him. The kind of, I mean, this is nothing to feel sorry about, but just naturally you do get used to it.
Yeah.
Like, I hang out with Richard and we chat and we have phone calls and WhatsApps. You get used to Richard Hammond coming up on your phone and answering. Like, it just naturally becomes a thing, which I guess for 14-year-old me is like a wee bit sad.
Teenage you must have been
sad.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, well, no, it's so unbelievably cool that that's the case. Like, crack on type stuff. But I think, you know, in the early days, we spent a lot of time with May. Then that transitioned to Richard. And then, you know, we always say we maybe get Clarkson once a year, maybe.
Right.
But the thing is, you know, that was when he was actually involved with DriveTribe. Richard, a couple of years ago, 2022, bought out the other two. So Richard's now the boss of DriveTribe. We've got a singular one. So that's why the vast majority of the content's with him.
It's Richard,
So we, you know, but we're still friendly with the other two. But yeah, definitely the amount of content with them has decreased. Last couple of years.
Do you think, or do you have one eye on quality to make sure that it's not too polished? Because I always find that with YouTube stuff, it never really works when it's too slick.
Yeah, I think that's a balance we've been looking at this year. I think we were quite high production. We've got a production team in house, and yes, I think this year we've basically made a move to be a bit more authentic and a bit more rough and ready. And there's been other channels that have definitely influenced us in that regard. Where we know there's probably just, you know, one cameraman point and shoot what's happening there and then, and it works.
It's very difficult to get your head around that, though, isn't it? Because sort of the perfectionist in me wants things to be better and better and better all the time. But that's not necessarily what works on YouTube, is it? Yeah,
exactly. And it's just, I think people are coming to YouTube now to have fun. So I think, you know, there was a time where YouTube was very much about being informative. I feel like there's been so much content on YouTube now. If you want to find out about a certain car or a history of something, there's so much content there for it. I think the people that are really going to succeed are when the audience, very nice Rover 75 estate there, very nice.
You're a big Rover man, aren't you?
Yes. I think people are going to come to YouTube just to kind of they almost see YouTubers as one of their mates almost. They're switching on to like almost hang out
that's
with their YouTube
that's a good
mate.
point.
So I think those guys, and Matt Armstrong's proving it. So like Matt Armstrong, Otto Alex, those guys, like they are providing that fun authenticity. It's as if you're there, like mucking about with them. So I think that, and as I say, that's definitely influenced us, and I think we'd like to add in more of that kind of fun aspect to our videos. I'll admit, like I presenting wise, I like the sort of informative. I like telling a story. I like going into the engineering or the history of something. Like that's just what I'm into. But you know, the audience tells you whether it wants that or not.
Exactly.
So it's just about, you know, adjusting your strategy really.
Just seeing the way that your eyes lit up when you saw that British Racing Green Rover 75 estate.
Did it turn our way? I think it did.
You're obviously a big Rover fan then. Where does that come from?
So, most of my car choices thus far have been influenced by my dad or granddad. So my granddad ferried me around from my bagpipe lessons in a Mondeo Ghia, a Mark II Mondeo Ghia. So I won up to him and got the ST200. My dad, when I was, you know, born, the car he had was a Rover 600. I then won up to him and got the 620 Ti, the 2-litre turbo one. I've got a psychologist could probably tell you what the hell's going on there. I feel like I need to one up my sort of family. So, and the classic car in the family, my dad restores classic cars in his spare time. when I was younger, it was always an MGC. So there's MG and Rover just kind of put in front of me from the get-go. So when it came for me to get my first car, I was like, well, I want an MG ZR. Like, I want to join the MG brand. But insurance was like £5,000 for one of them.
Right.
But the Rover 25 was only 800 quid or something. Insurance. So
you went to the 25.
I went with Rovers, and I've kind of, I've owned a 25, a MG ZT. I currently own an MG ZS 180. So yeah, MG Rover is my jam.
I'm conflicted with that brand because I wish they were better. I'm just not a fan. I've just had too many bad experiences with them, really.
Yeah, I can understand, like
overheating and just poor build quality.
I get it. You kind of have to get a wee bit lucky. Thankfully, I've not had too many catastrophes. I say that the 620 Ti is currently in the garage.
Right. Okay.
That's another one that's got a full restoration.
Okay.
I think that's my main. I like to take shabby, sub £1,000 cars and
spend too much money on
the most ridiculous restorations.
Right.
So that they suddenly go from being scrappers to being like one of the best.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think my love for MG Rover is ever going to go anywhere, really.
No.
I absolutely love my ZS.
that you'd love to own one day?
I'd love to actually own a ZR. So, as I say, my first car was a Rover 25, and I started putting the ZR bits on it.
Yeah, as you do.
I would love, my dream car is a trophy yellow MG ZR 160 3-door.
Okay.
Now, JM on cars has that car.
Okay.
He's currently restoring.
What engine's in the 160? 1.8?
It's the VVC.
Okay.
So I should know this. Is it a 1.6 or is it a 1.8?
Right.
I'm not sure. But anyway, naturally aspirated VVC. It's like the high revving one.
Yeah.
160 horsepower. It's the one they like MG Trophy series. They use them, and that's what makes them quite rare. Because people, the second they start getting used, when they rust, and people take them racing, the numbers very quickly it's minimised.
Yeah, fair enough.
So yeah, genuinely, like everyone says, a dream car would be like a Mercedes SLR or something. A huge tick for me would be a trophy yellow ZR 160.
Fair enough.
So if JM wants to restore us and then give it to me, that'd be great.
Right. What cars do you currently own then?
I currently own 4 cars. So I've got my Mondeo ST200. I've got an MG ZS 180, which is my sort of like track car, really. I own Reggie the Rover, the 620 Ti. And then I have a Mark II MX-5, which is currently in the DriveTribe exhibition at the Haynes Motor Museum.
Okay.
That's because...
1.6 or 1.8? Or?
It was a 1.6.
Okay.
That is supposed to be getting a V10 put in it.
Ah, you mentioned that, right, okay.
Yes.
Will it fit?
Yes, it will.
Okay.
That one, we've got 2 V10 MX-5s in the works. That one is the original. So there's a 2-litre V10 that exists.
Oh, really?
By a company called Carchat.
Okay.
And basically we're in there's been quite a long road getting that engine developed. Shouldn't be too far away, but basically that car is restored as well, and is sitting waiting for its 2-litre V10 engine. Okay. It's an amazing little thing. You can literally lift it up with your...
What's the story behind that? Why was that developed?
It was built for a 1990s Carchat sports car. Carchat used to be a 1950s Grand Prix team, and the brand came back in the 90s with this little sort of almost MX-5 type sports car, but it never made it. It never got the full funding, but they developed the engines for it. So I basically found them. They were on a shelf in up the back of some warehouse.
Okay.
And
what sort of power then will that put out?
About 200 horsepower.
Okay.
Revs
but
to
it'll
about
scream like a
12,000 RPM.
Okay.
Because I mean, honestly, the pistons are like that. Because 2 litres spread between 10 cylinders. They're like tiny little motorcycle pistons.
Rear-wheel drive manual. The rest will stay the same.
Rear-wheel drive manual, yeah. So the last thing I heard was that it's a modular engine, so they're nearly finished a V6, a 1.2 V6.
Oh, really? Okay.
And then once they've done that and it works, they'll then scale up to the V10. They'll add the other modules to make the V10.
A bit like the Ingenium engine.
Yeah. So once that MX-5 is sitting at the Haynes Motor Museum with the Grand Tour cars and some of Richard's stuff in our exhibition. And once that engine is done and I get an email that says, right, where's your Miata? I will be over there, and that'll be, as far as I'm aware, the world's first V10. Because people do V8 swaps, and then there's a guy in South Africa that's done a Toyota Century V12 swap, but no one's done a 10.
No.
So that's one. And then, yes, something that chimes into this car. While we were waiting for that one to get the engine to be developed, I thought, well, let's make another one with a V10 that actually exists. So I've actually been chatting to a very well-known company. I can't reveal it just now, but they've basically said, bring another Mazda to us, and we will fit the 5-litre Beamer engine to it. So that would be a 500 horsepower NA manual.
And you actually have the MX-5 for that already?
Yes, that's at Swallows Racing right now, just chilling out. And that, again, we made sure to get like a solid one so that we didn't have to muck about.
No, with welding sills and all that sort of stuff,
But we've done a video where we've dropped in an S85 and closed the bonnet. The engine's fine, the gearbox is a different thing. The gearboxes on these are huge.
I can imagine.
So my transmission, my gear stick might be up here. And that thing will be genuinely quite dangerous to drive.
It'll be very nose heavy, won't it?
It will be. It won't really go around corners. But then it will be spinning up 500 NA horsepower out the back.
From the back.
So it might just be a bit of an airfield car, if we're honest. But again, world's first.
Exactly.
Fingers crossed we actually get these across the line. Oh, I just made everyone's day back there.
Have you got any other ideas for kind of Frankenstein cars or not?
Richard wants to take his final Grand Tour car, so his 1970s Capri. He's seen Izzy's Mini and has thought, well, I want to make my Capri like that. So road legal, but like he wants to be able to go on a track day and it lasts all day without any issues. So doing a kind of like resto mod track build on his final Grand Tour car. A few people might complain that that's quite a poignant car for him, and it's going to get torn apart with bucket seats and everything. But Richard isn't sort of nostalgic like that. He's happy. I mean, he's talked about putting a small block V8 into into Oliver. You know, but the audience would go nuts at that, because that is a cherished car.
He's not a purist then.
No, he's happy to just crack on as long as he's got the cars and he can still drive them. It's all good.
Who do you think, or which of those three do you think you've got most in common with?
I'd say I've got most in common with James.
I knew you were going to say that. Actually, I had a feeling you'd say that
because, like, you know, we like
the understanding how and appreciating how things work, that side of things.
Yeah, the engineering side, we're into modelling. We like airplanes, we like trains, all that kind of thing. But weirdly, I wouldn't say that means we get on that well compared to Richard. If you were to say who do you go down to the pub with or go out for a meal with, hang out, I'd say Richard. I feel like it's almost like me and James might be a bit too similar. So it almost kind of,
I see what you mean.
That doesn't quite work in that respect. Jeremy, I've had so little interaction with him. Like, you know, as you say, I worked at DriveTribe for 7 years, and I think I've filmed with him maybe 5 times in total. So yeah, just through lack of exposure, really, I couldn't really tell you whether I get on with Jeremy or not. It's just you're there to hold the camera. That's basically it.
Fair enough.
But no, Richard's the best. He's still got so much energy for it. I think like he still wants to modify cars and go on road trips and muck about with.
This is the thing, isn't it? After doing it for decades, you'd kind of just assume that would wear off, wouldn't you?
No, not at all. Yeah,
it's good to see that it hasn't.
Yeah, absolutely. he's, you know, he phones me up and says, Mike, I quite fancy this. Can we do it? And I'm like, well, we'll see. We'll see how the budget's doing.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, it does sound great. Like,
do you find yourself having to rein him in sometimes with things like that? With wacky ideas?
Yeah, I guess there's some stuff that maybe he's got his
only because you know the budgets and stuff like that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But then I think he also quite likes us doing stuff that, from our side, is quite a big shoot. Like we did a road trip from Hereford to Scotland a couple of years ago, and for us that was like quite a big shoot. But from his side, it's quite chill and small and quite intimate. So I think he really appreciates that. There's not a crew of 70 people having to sort of traipse behind him. So I think he quite likes, because that's where he kind of came from, his Men and Motors days.
Yes.
It was him and the camera.
Team. Yeah, exactly.
And he just would crack on.
Yeah, no, that's nice. It's kind of come full circle for him then, hasn't it now?
Yeah, exactly. And I think he likes how nimble we can be. Like if we have an idea, we can then shoot it and edit it that week.
Yeah.
While anything with TV, you're talking months. Yeah. Quite easily.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So, you know, he's still got his TV shows going. That means he's got that like direct comparison kind of day to day, really. But yeah, we tried to film with him as much as possible. He's a very busy man.
Yeah, I'm sure.
We have to go to him with the best ideas all ready to go, so that when he says, "Yep, let's do them," we can be like,
"You're ready to go."
Okay,
yeah, exactly. Ready to spring into action.
Yeah. Have you ever met any of the three?
No, never. No. And where do you see the future going then? Not only for your own channel, but for automotive YouTube.
Ooh.
You think, because it's so saturated, isn't it? Do you still think there's more room there, or?
I do. Do you know, it was actually Benedict Fowler that I was doing a podcast with him, and he kind of gave me a bit of a shake-up, and I thought about it afterwards. I'm like, you're actually right, because I was saying similar things about saturation and like, when's the next thing going to come along? Is it YouTube? I think YouTube's barely got going.
Right. Okay.
I think in this new world, like I saw stats that basically the biggest streaming platform in the world now is YouTube. YouTube overtook Netflix quite recently.
Did it really? No, that makes sense, because you've obviously got to pay for Netflix and the other streaming sites, whereas YouTube's free, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think when you go to events now, like the kids, the teenagers, and also everyone our age as well, like they're there to see YouTubers now.
This is what
they want to hang out.
I can't get my head around this.
Yeah, it's totally a thing. So like, whether we kind of like it or not, we are now. What I'm not going to say is we are replacing Clark Sampson and all these guys, but there's no two ways about it. Like, people are traveling across the country to come to events to see us car YouTubers, which is so cool. So cool. It
is. I remember going to Goodwood Festival of Speed probably 3 years ago, maybe, and I saw Shmee there. From a distance, and he was flanked by a load of like an entourage, and they looked like bodyguards. It looked like when you see Kim Kardashian walking through LAX airport. It looked like that, and I thought that's sort of the level of celebrity, really, that YouTube stars are.
So yeah, to answer your question, I think YouTube is just getting started, but to maximise it, you've got to do it well, which sounds like an overly simplistic thing to say, but it's either a good or a bad thing. There is kind of a formula to YouTube these days, and there's plenty of videos around that analyse why channels do well, and it's all fairly similar stuff. So like, and I'm not saying DriveTribe maxes this out. Like, we've definitely got room to improve. We've made quite a few improvements this year, I think, but I think there's huge opportunity in the next couple of years to basically fill out the media space more than ever, because YouTube is this platform now that's basically telling us, lads, the opportunity's there, take it.
Yeah, exactly.
Create
Run with it.
good content.
Go with it.
So I feel like we're actually about to come into a new heyday of car YouTube. Like, if you can go back to the early Shmee, Supercars of London, seen through glass days as one heyday. I think we're about to emerge into another.
Right. Okay, that's interesting you say that. Well, thank you very much for your time then, Mike, and I wish you all the best with the DriveTribe channel. Yeah,
thank you, and good luck with your stuff too.
Yeah, thank you. Cool. Well, thanks guys for watching. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done already. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. I'll leave the links below. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Cheers.
I want this car.
I know. I'm looking forward to the drive back, actually.